Minister, Shanmugam is spoiling for a fight by playing the race card again. Happy to oblige, Minister. Mr. Shanmugam warned opposition parties to steer clear of identity politics and took a swipe at SDP's GE candidate, Mr. Damanuri Abbas. Steer clear of identity politics. Did I hear the minister correctly? Now, which party insists on keeping race on our identity cards despite repeated calls to abandon such a practice because it only accentuates the division among Singaporeans? Which party was the one that said that some Singaporeans, older Singaporeans, are not ready for a non-Chinese prime minister? Which party introduced self-help groups like CDAC, Mendaki, Sinda, and the Eurasian Association because it said that the Chinese would be more likely to help fellow Chinese, the Malays likewise, and so on? Is this not identity politics at its most repugnant? And which party introduced the GRC system saying that the Chinese left to our own devices would not elect minority candidates when there is absolutely no truth to this? The Chinese majority elected David Marshall as our first chief minister. It elected Mr. J.B. Jeyaretnam, who beat a PAP Chinese candidate to win Anson in 1981, and Mr. Tharman beat 3 other Chinese candidates in the last presidential election. And speaking of presidents, which party insisted that only Malays could stand as a candidate in the 2017 presidential elections? But here's the real kicker. There was a protest held at Hong Lim Park criticizing that presidential election being reserved for Malays. The protest was labeled by some as anti-Malay. Oh, guess who stepped up and put this shenanigan to rest? Yep, you guessed it. It was none other than our Daman, who said in his Facebook post, "After 52 years, society has evolved into a melting pot, creating a unique Singaporean identity. This natural mix reflects social reality and is worthy of our celebration," he said. However, he continued, when we politicize race, it gets messy very fast. And this was clearly the case for this reserved presidential election. So here's Mr. Damanuri, a Malay, speaking up against a presidential election reserved for Malays. To top it off, Daman then called for a figure like Dr. Tan Cheng Bock to be president. Do your homework, Mr. Shanmugam. Your sloppiness as coordinating Minister for National Security is unacceptable. This is what gets me. Mr. Shanmugam challenges the SDP not to dwell on identity politics. Here's an idea. We're happy to debate Mr. Shanmugam, or any of his party colleagues for that matter, on the subject and clear the air once and for all just who is engaging in race and identity politics. The real question that Singaporeans must ask is, why does the PAP do what it does? Make us state our race on our NRIC, create self-help groups based on ethnic identity, make our minority GRC candidates go through the demeaning process of having to get a license to say that they are certified as Malays or Indians, and then turn around and accuse the opposition of engaging in identity politics. Why does it divide us and sensitize us to our race and then say that we should not engage in racial politics? Doesn't make sense, right? But it makes perfect sense for the PAP. You see, by doing what it does, it makes one ethnic group suspicious of the other. It continues to stoke that division. It then comes in and portrays itself as the hero, the only party that can unite us all, because we cannot be trusted to act as one people. The subtext is that if the PAP is not in power, Singapore will descend into chaos. Now, do you see it, my friends? It is the classic divide and conquer tactic, which, by the way, was employed by our British colonial masters. Back then, the Brits kept playing the race card, that the Chinese would fight the Malays, who would fight the Indians, who would fight the Eurasians, and that it, and only it, our white saviors, could keep society from being torn apart. That white government has simply transformed into the government in white, but still employing the same old tactic. No, my fellow Singaporeans, we have become smarter, and we must not continue to fall for this tactic. When I was growing up, I was football mad, and I saw how Singaporeans supported our national team during the Malaysia Cup competition. We roared for S. Rajagopal, not because he was Indian. We went crazy for Mat Noor, not because he was Malay. We screamed for Kwa Kim Song, not because he was Chinese. And we adored Eric Payne, not because he was Eurasian. The only color we saw was the blue they wore. We were Singaporeans, and we were damn proud of it. Then the PAP introduced the silly nonsense of self-help groups and GRC system and presidential election to tell us to be careful of each other. And we have a group in SDP whom we call the Young Democrats, our youth wing. They are a bunch of younger Singaporeans who work together and see themselves as who they really are. Singaporeans, full stop. Not Chinese, not Malays, not Indians. And I am so proud of them all. It is they, not Mr. Shanmugam and his ilk, who hold the key to a united and prosperous Singapore in the future. For younger Singaporeans who may not know, the PAP had accused Jufri Mahmud, another SDP candidate, in the 1991 GE of being a Malay chauvinist. Then in the 1997 GE, it accused Tang Liang Hong, who recently passed away, of being a Chinese chauvinist. And now the flavor of the month is Daman Nuri. I know these gentlemen. I've worked with them. And they are my brothers. Whether it's Jufri or Liang Hong or JB Jaran or Daman. They are Singaporeans first and Singaporeans last. I trust them with my life. So stop it. Stop the nonsense, Mr. Shanmugam. Stop using the racial bogey. If you want a debate to see who is playing identity politics in Singapore, we are happy to oblige. You can come to our office, or if you prefer, I can go to yours. Or we can go to MediaCorp or get a podcast and we can do a live debate so that Singaporeans can see and hear for themselves just who is stoking racial politics in Singapore. You just name the date, time, and place, and we'll be there. But if you won't do this, then stop making baseless accusations against the SDP in Parliament. In a speech, Mr. Shanmugam also raised the subject of foreign interference. Now, don't get me started on that. I'll leave that till another episode of my videos. For now, my invitation to the PAP is an open and standing one. And oh, by the way, Mr. Shanmugam, you still have not told Singaporeans who you sold your good class bungalow for an eye-popping $88 million to. We're still waiting for an answer.